People fear the physically strong, but they obey the emotionally dangerous. Because emotional danger is a silent weapon, you never raise your voice, yet the world feels your presence. You don't have to threaten anyone. Your discipline itself is a threat. When you become emotionally dangerous, no one can manipulate you, no one can shake you, and no one can ever control you. And this is exactly what Machiavelli understood. Power belongs to the one who cannot be moved. Emotional danger begins the moment you stop reacting. Because the world survives on your reactions, your anger, your insecurities, your desire for approval. People can only control you when they can trigger you. But when you learn to detach from every attempt to provoke you, you disconnect from the strings they try to pull. You become the calm force that others cannot measure, predict, or influence. The quieter you become inside, the more powerful you are outside. To become emotionally dangerous, you must first stop explaining yourself. Weak people explain. Strong people act. Machiavelli said that a ruler must never reveal more of his thoughts than necessary. The moment people understand your emotions, they know how to use them against you. They know what offends you, what scares you, what pressures you. But if you stay silent, calm, unreadable, they are left guessing in the dark. And a person who is guessing is a person who is powerless. People assume being emotional means being expressive. But true emotional power is control over your internal world. It is the discipline to feel everything yet show nothing. It is the strength to observe without absorbing, to listen without reacting, and to speak only when your words change the situation. This is the foundation of emotional danger. Others can't influence what they cannot understand. Machiavelli taught that the world respects those who appear unshaken. This doesn't mean you feel nothing, it means you master everything. Your emotions are not storms that destroy you. They are weapons you choose to use with precision. Anger becomes strategy. Fear becomes awareness. Sadness becomes reflection. You take every emotion, break it down, understand it, and convert it into power. Most people drown in their emotions. You sharpen yours. The second principle of emotional danger is unpredictability. People try to control you by mapping your patterns. If they know you get angry quickly, they can trigger you. If they know you fear loneliness, they can abandon you. If they know you crave validation, they can give or withhold it. But become unpredictable, calm where others expect chaos, silent where others expect pleading, and you destroy their ability to influence you. Machiavelli believed that a leader must never be fully knowable. Mystery protects you more than strength ever will. To reach this level, you must learn emotional distance. This does not mean coldness, it means clarity. You see people for who they are, not who you wish they were. You don't attach your worth to anyone's approval or affection. You don't allow someone's mood to dictate your peace. Emotional distance creates emotional dominion. No one can enter your inner world without your permission. When you own your emotional space, you become untouchable. Machiavelli said that the person who controls their emotions controls their fate. The world loses power over you the moment you stop needing anything from it: validation, attention, comfort. When you rely on yourself, you owe nothing, and no one can weaponize your needs against you. This is why emotionally dangerous people often look alone, yet they are never lonely. They walk in their own authority. Another critical part of emotional danger is your ability to walk away. Most people stay in situations because they fear loss of love, loss of status, loss of comfort. But if you are willing to lose anything, no one can hold anything over you. Machiavelli wrote that a person who has nothing to lose becomes the most powerful force. When you are ready to walk away from people, places, illusions, and comfort, you rise above the chains that control the masses. Emotional danger is also built through silence. Silence is not absence. Silence is dominance. People expect explanations, apologies, justifications. When you remain silent, you force the world to reflect on its own behavior. Silence creates psychological pressure. It forces others to confront themselves. Machiavelli understood that silence is often more intimidating than threats. A calm person who refuses to react becomes a mirror that exposes everyone else. Another key is mastering delayed emotion. You don't respond when you're overwhelmed. You respond when you're clear. Most people destroy relationships, opportunities, and reputations because they speak from temporary emotions. Emotional danger means you let the storm pass before you move. You speak with calculation. You act with strategy. You separate the moment from the decision. This gives you an advantage no one can challenge. To become emotionally dangerous, you must also rise above personal insults. Weak people crumble at disrespect. Strong people observe and smile. Machiavelli believed that insults only hold power over the insecure. When your self-worth comes from within, not from others' opinions, nothing can destabilize you. You become unshakable not because life is easy, but because you choose what deserves your energy. Another part of emotional danger is the ability to say no without guilt. Most people say yes because they fear disappointing others, but every yes you give out of fear weakens you. Machiavelli said that a ruler who tries to be loved by everyone loses authority. Emotional danger means you prioritize your peace, your time, your boundaries above the expectations of others. Every calm, firm no builds a layer of strength that cannot be taken from you. You also become emotionally dangerous when you stop arguing. Arguments are invitations to lose control. People argue to persuade, but persuasion is not always power. Silence is. Walking away is. Not reacting is. You don't need to win arguments when you already know the truth. Machiavelli believed that the most powerful individuals are those who refuse to descend into chaos. They hold their composure while others crumble. The world becomes your battlefield the moment you understand emotional power. And in this battlefield, the strongest weapon is not dominance, it is detachment. Detachment meaning you participate in life without being owned by anything. You appreciate people without depending on them. You commit without losing yourself. You care without collapsing. Detachment makes you clear, calm, and impossible to manipulate. To reach the highest level, transform pain into insight. Every heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment, these are not emotional wounds. They are emotional training. Machiavelli believed that suffering refines the mind. It teaches you what to expect, what to avoid, and what to never repeat. Emotionally dangerous people are not heartless, they are seasoned. Their calm comes from lessons, not luck. In the end, emotional danger means mastery. Mastery of your reactions, your desires, your fears, your expectations. It means you choose your emotions, they do not choose you. You express emotions strategically, not impulsively. You invest emotions selectively, not blindly. You protect your emotional world like a kingdom because it is one. Machiavelli would say this: the ruler who commands himself can never be commanded by others. When you become emotionally dangerous, you stop being controlled by threats, manipulation, fear, and pressure. You move through the world with quiet confidence. You rise above petty chaos. You make decisions from strength, not weakness. You become your own empire. And as you walk through life with this level of emotional mastery, the world will notice something powerful about you. No one can control you, not because you fight harder, but because you feel deeper, understand faster, react slower, and choose wiser. And that is the ultimate Machiavellian weapon. When you become emotionally dangerous, freedom is no longer something you chase. It becomes something you embody, and the world, whether it admits it or not, learns to respect you, fear losing you, and never attempt to control you again. There comes a point in your evolution where emotional danger becomes your natural state, not because you are trying to intimidate anyone, but because you no longer depend on anyone. And this independence radiates from you in a way people can feel before you even speak. Machiavelli believed that true power is sensed, not announced. Emotionally dangerous people don't try to look strong, they simply are. Their presence alone disrupts manipulation. The moment you stop seeking permission for your existence, you rise above the world's psychological traps. You no longer wait for validation to take action. You no longer check if someone approves before you make a decision. You don't shrink so others can feel comfortable. This inner authority is rare, and people are drawn to it, but they also fear it because they cannot use it. Emotional danger makes you unpredictable in a world that relies on predictable people. You also become emotionally dangerous the day you stop romanticizing potential. You see people in situations for what they truly are, not what they could be. This clarity wipes out disappointment, eliminates false hope, and protects your energy. Machiavelli wrote that a leader must judge people by their actions, never by their promises. When you adopt this mindset, emotional manipulation dies instantly. No one can control you with words when you only trust patterns. There is another layer to emotional danger, the refusal to take things personally. Most conflicts, betrayals, and insults are not about you, they are reflections of the other person's inner chaos. When you understand this, you stop reacting emotionally. You stop absorbing negativity. You become immune to disrespect. This calm immunity terrifies manipulators because their greatest advantage, your reaction, no longer exists. Your emotional strength becomes dangerous when you learn how to pause. A pause before speaking. A pause before replying. A pause before deciding. These few quiet seconds separate the powerful from the impulsive. In that pause, You think like Machiavelli, strategically, patiently, with a clear understanding of consequences. No one can control a person who controls the gap between stimulus and response. Emotional danger also comes from scarcity of access. You do not let everyone reach you. You choose who gets your time, your attention, your kindness, your secrets. The less accessible you are, the more leverage you gain. Machiavelli believed that a ruler must never be the familiar. Familiarity breeds disrespect. Emotional danger means you protect your inner world with boundaries so strong that only the genuinely deserving ever enter. And then comes the greatest shift of all. You stop proving yourself. You don't explain your worth. You don't convince anyone of your value. You don't fight to be seen. You know who you are, and that certainty becomes unshakable. People can no longer push you around because there is nothing inside you that is insecure or desperate for approval. When you are no longer hungry for validation, emotional control becomes impossible. Even your kindness becomes powerful. Emotional danger does not mean cruelty, it means your kindness is intentional, not naive. You give without being used. You love without losing yourself. You forgive without repeating cycles. This balance is rare, and it gives you a psychological edge. A person who loves strongly yet remains unshaken is someone the world cannot manipulate. You also become emotionally dangerous when you refuse to chase. Anything that requires begging is not aligned with your power. You don't chase people, opportunities, apologies, or attention. You attract through your presence, your discipline, your clarity. Machiavelli would say that the one who chases submits, the one who attracts controls. Emotional danger means you know that what is meant for you will not need to be begged for. There's a moment when you realize that conflict does not need your reaction. You understand that silence ends more battles than arguments ever will. You recognize that not every insult deserves a response. Not every attack deserves attention. Your restraint becomes your battlefield advantage. People expect you to fold, fear, panic, but you don't. That calmness confuses them. It weakens them. It gives you control without effort. Another element of emotional danger is your relationship with failure. Most people break when they fail, but emotionally dangerous individuals use failure as fuel. They analyze, they adapt, they return stronger. Machiavelli said that adversity teaches what comfort hides. So every setback becomes a lesson, every betrayal becomes insight, every loss becomes armor. Eventually, you become untouchable not because life didn't hurt you, but because it did. You also reach a point where you detach from outcomes. You focus on action, not results. You invest in process, not approval. This mindset frees you from fear and doubt. When you no longer fear losing, you operate from strength. And the person who isn't afraid to lose is someone no one can control. At the height of emotional danger, you carry a stillness that others cannot access. A stillness born from discipline, from self-awareness, from understanding the world more deeply than it understands you. This stillness makes you magnetic. People feel safe around you yet intimidated, drawn yet cautious. That is emotional sovereignty, the highest form of power. And when you finally reach this level, the world sees you differently. People stop testing you because they know it won't work. Manipulators avoid you because they cannot break you. Even your silence speaks louder than other people's rage. You become the kind of person Machiavelli described, one who shapes the world, not one who is shaped by it. This is what it means to become emotionally dangerous, not violent, not cold, not cruel, but controlled, strategic, detached, wise, calm. And when you walk with this inner power, there is nothing, absolutely nothing anyone can do to control you again. Emotional danger sharpens even more when you stop needing to win every interaction. You don't need the last word. You don't need to prove someone wrong. You don't need to expose a liar or confront every slight. You understand that some battles are beneath you. Machiavelli believed that a ruler must conserve his energy for meaningful conflict, not waste it on petty disputes. When you adopt this mindset, you stop reacting to noise. You focus only on what moves your life forward. This selective engagement gives you an aura of calm superiority that people instantly recognize. You also become emotionally dangerous the moment you separate your identity from your emotions. You understand that feeling angry doesn't make you an angry person. Feeling hurt doesn't make you weak. Feeling lonely doesn't make you incomplete. Emotions become temporary signals, not permanent definitions. This detachment frees you from the chains that most people remain trapped in. When your identity no longer depends on how you feel in the moment, no one can use your emotions to control you. One of the most powerful traits of emotionally dangerous people is the ability to listen deeply. Without reacting, you let others speak, vent, accuse, even insult, yet you remain still. That stillness is not weakness. It is strength under pressure. It is the calm that makes other people expose their intentions, reveal their insecurities, and show their true nature. Machiavelli wrote that patience and observation reveal the hearts of men more clearly than confrontation ever could. The one who listens without reacting always has the upper hand. There is also a point where emotional danger becomes spiritual in nature, not religious, but deeply internal. You stop fearing the unknown. You stop fearing endings. You stop fearing change. You stop fearing being misunderstood. You stop fearing walking alone. And when you let go of fear, you become a force the world cannot bend. Fear is the greatest tool of manipulation. Remove fear, and you remove their leverage. Your emotional danger is amplified by your ability to remain grounded even when life becomes chaotic. You don't get swept away by circumstances. You don't panic when things go wrong. You don't crumble when plans fall apart. You adapt. You adjust. You rebuild. People admire resilience, but they fear emotional resilience because an emotionally resilient person cannot be intimidated, cannot be rushed, cannot be controlled. You become someone who moves forward no matter what. You also reach a level where silence becomes your natural language, not because you have nothing to say, but because you no longer waste words. Every word you choose carries weight. Every sentence has purpose. Your minimal speech becomes a psychological shield people can't decode. What they can't read, can't predict what they can't hear. Machiavelli believed that mystery enhances authority. Your silence becomes a strategy. Your calm becomes a weapon. Your restraint becomes power. Another dimension of emotional danger is the ability to forgive without reconnecting. Forgiveness cleanses your mind. Reconnection corrupts it. Emotionally dangerous people know that forgiveness is for peace, not for reunion. You release the emotional burden, but you do not reopen the door. This confuses manipulators. They expect forgiveness to mean access. But access is a privilege, and you control who earns it. Machiavelli said that a wise ruler forgives once, but never forgets the lesson. Your emotional danger grows stronger when you stop announcing your moves. You don't talk about your goals, your plans, your dreams. You just work. You build in silence. You upgrade yourself quietly. You make your life better without broadcasting it. This prevents jealousy, sabotage, pressure, and unnecessary opinions. People cannot interfere with plans they don't know exist. You move like a shadow, steady, silent, unstoppable. You also become emotionally dangerous when you stop investing energy into people who are incapable of growth. You recognize emotional immaturity instantly. You don't try to fix it. You don't try to rescue anyone from themselves. You simply step back because you know that emotional dead weight will drown anyone who tries to carry it. Machiavelli believed that loyalty belongs only to those who have proven their value, and sometimes the most powerful act is withdrawal. There comes a moment when you understand that not everything deserves a reaction. Some things deserve distance. Some things deserve indifference. Some things deserve silence. This is emotional maturity, and emotional maturity is the birthplace of emotional danger. People who live in drama cannot understand someone who lives in discipline. They mistake your calm for emptiness. They mistake your quiet for weakness. But what they don't realize is that you are operating from a higher level of self-control. Your emotional danger becomes undeniable. When you begin to choose yourself, even when it's difficult, you say no even when people expect yes. You walk away even when your heart wants to stay. You prioritize your well-being even when guilt tries to grip you. This level of self-respect makes you ungovernable. Machiavelli believed that a person who governs themselves can never be governed by another. Your decisions become final because they come from clarity, not fear. And then, something extraordinary happens. The world begins to treat you differently. People speak more carefully around you. They think twice before disrespecting you. They hesitate before trying to manipulate you. They know they can't break you. They know you don't need them. They know you see through them. You become someone who cannot be emotionally ambushed or psychologically cornered. You become untouchable. This is the essence of becoming emotionally dangerous. You move through life with calm confidence. You no longer chase outcomes. You shape them. You no longer fear loss. You transform it. You no longer break under pressure. You rise above it. And when you reach this level, you carry a power that cannot be controlled, cannot be stolen, and cannot be diluted. When you become emotionally dangerous, you don't dominate others, you dominate yourself. And that is the greatest power any human can possess. Emotional danger grows even further when you develop the ability to endure silence from others. Without collapsing, most people cannot handle being ignored, being left on read, being distanced. They panic, they chase, they overthink. But when you become emotionally dangerous, you don't chase clarification, you don't beg for reassurance, you don't crumble at silence. You let it be. Your ability to stay calm during uncertainty becomes your psychological shield. Machiavelli believed that the one who stays composed during confusion holds the real advantage. You also reach a point where you stop attaching your identity to outcomes. If something works, good. If it doesn't, you adapt. Emotionally dangerous people don't break. When things fall apart, they reassess, reposition, and rise. Most people depend on circumstances to feel stable. You depend on yourself. This self-reliance is terrifying to anyone who tries to control you, because they cannot use fear of failure to manipulate you anymore. Another layer of emotional danger comes from your ability to observe without absorbing. You see everything: tone, intention, inconsistency, manipulation tactics, yet you take nothing personally. You watch people's behavior like a strategist, not a victim. You analyze instead of reacting. This observational calm gives you a psychological map of people's motives, and the one who understands the battlefield controls the outcome of the war. You become even more dangerous emotionally when you stop responding to provocation. People provoke you because they want a reaction. They want to pull your strings, activate your anger, or make you lose your composure. But when you remain unshaken, the power shifts instantly. Your lack of reaction becomes a quiet punishment. It forces them to confront their own intentions. Silence becomes the mirror they fear looking into. Your emotional danger becomes almost untouchable when you accept that not everyone deserves an explanation, not everyone deserves closure, and not everyone deserves access to you. You learn that some people must be left exactly where they stood when they showed you who they were. Machiavelli believed that mercy without discernment is weakness. Emotional danger means valuing peace more than people who disturb it. One of the strongest traits of emotionally dangerous people is their ability to stay alone without falling apart. Loneliness destroys those who depend on others for emotional survival, but solitude strengthens the one who uses it for reflection and self-building. You stop fearing being alone because you have built a mind powerful enough to support you. And the person who is not afraid of being alone is someone the world cannot control. Emotional danger increases when you stop rushing your decisions. The impatient are controlled by their impulses. The patient are guided by their vision. You choose your relationships carefully, your commitments wisely, your words precisely. This patience exposes manipulators. They cannot rush you, cannot confuse you, cannot distort your perspective. You move when the moment is right, not when others pressure you. Another critical part of emotional danger is learning to detach from people's moods. You don't rise and fall with someone else's emotional fluctuations. You stand steady while others swing between extremes. This stability makes you a psychological fortress. People cannot influence your emotional state because your peace does not depend on external conditions. Machiavelli believed that control over one's internal world is the highest form of political power. It is also the highest form of personal power. Emotional danger becomes undeniable when you turn your pain into wisdom instead of bitterness. You understand that every betrayal taught you boundaries, every heartbreak taught you patience, every humiliation taught you self-respect. You don't carry resentment, you carry lessons. And nothing is more dangerous than a person who learns faster from pain than others learn from comfort. You also become emotionally dangerous the day you stop demanding loyalty and start observing it. Loyalty is not proven by words, promises, or declarations. It is revealed in actions, consistency, and pressure. You watch quietly, you evaluate through patterns, you trust slowly, and you withdraw instantly at the first sign of deceit. People cannot control someone who is willing to walk away. The moment loyalty cracks, over time, you develop a calm that others cannot influence. This calm comes from knowing you can recover from anything. You can rebuild after loss. You can rise after betrayal. You can reinvent yourself after endings. This inner strength removes fear, and without fear, manipulation dies. You also become emotionally dangerous when you stop defending your integrity. You realize that not every accusation needs response. Not every misunderstanding deserves correction. People who judge without knowing you will judge again even after explanations. So you stop wasting energy trying to change their perspective. Emotional danger means letting people think what they want while you remain grounded in who you are. Another powerful layer is becoming emotionally selective. You don't give your love, loyalty, trust, or time easily, you treat your emotional energy like currency valuable, limited, and only spent where returns are real. Machiavelli believed that power is preserved through selective investment. The less you give to the undeserving, the more powerful you become. Then comes the final transformation. You stop needing to be understood. You speak less. You reveal less. You share less. You allow people to misunderstand you without frustration, because you know that your truth doesn't need validation and your path doesn't require approval. Emotionally dangerous people are not loud, they are clear within themselves. When you reach this level, something remarkable happens. You walk into rooms and people adjust their behavior. They sense your strength before you say a word. They know they cannot play with your emotions the way they do with others. Your presence becomes instruction, your silence becomes authority, and your boundaries become law. This is the essence of emotional danger, mastering yourself so deeply that no one else can master you. You become even more emotionally dangerous when you stop responding to urgency created by others. People will pressure you with deadlines, emotional ultimatums, guilt, and fear to force your decisions. But when you refuse to be rushed, when you think slowly even under pressure, you break their control. Machiavelli said that the one who controls time controls the outcome. Emotional danger means you move on your schedule, not theirs. Another powerful layer is learning to stay calm in the face of unpredictability. Life will throw chaos, surprises, betrayals, and sudden changes at you. Most people panic because they need certainty to feel safe. But emotionally dangerous individuals anchor themselves in adaptability, not certainty. You become someone who can adjust instantly without losing stability. And people quickly realize they cannot destabilize you. Their chaos cannot control you. Your emotional danger sharpens further when you let the truth guide you, not your fantasies. You see people's potential, but judge their reality. You keep your heart open, but your eyes sharper. You hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. This balance makes you unbreakable. Manipulators lose their grip because you're not living in illusions. You're operating from clarity. Machiavelli warned that rulers who trust appearances are destroyed. Wisdom lies in seeing what is hidden. Another dimension of emotional danger is your ability to stand firm in uncomfortable moments. Awkward silence, tense conversations, disagreement, rejection, confrontation. Most people fold under discomfort, but you hold your ground. You don't flinch. You don't fidget. You don't escape. Your comfort in discomfort becomes a form of dominance. The person who can stay calm in tension controls the direction of the interaction. You also become emotionally dangerous when you stop feeding your ego. The ego is easily manipulated. Praise it, and it becomes blind. Insult it, and it becomes angry. When you detach from the need to feel superior or admired, you become untouchable. Critics cannot shake you. Compliments cannot control you. You remain steady regardless of external noise. Machiavelli believed that a ruler must never let flattery distort reality. Ego is a trap. Emotional danger is freedom from it. Your emotional danger becomes visible when you no longer fear walking away from what once comforted you, your environment, your relationships, your habits. Anything that stops you from growing becomes something you can leave behind. Most people cling to the familiar even when it destroys them. But when you embrace change without fear, you rise above emotional dependency. And dependency is the very root of control. Another layer, you start speaking less of what you feel and more of what you observe. Emotionally dangerous people don't talk about their insecurities, their dreams, or their weaknesses openly. They talk about patterns, behavior, strategy. This shift changes how people interact with you. They can manipulate your emotions because they don't know where they are. You reveal only what strengthens you, not what weakens you. You also develop a deep sense of emotional neutrality. You don't label situations as good or bad. You see them as instructive. Every experience, every person, every moment teaches you something. This mindset converts emotional chaos into emotional clarity, and clarity is power. Machiavelli emphasized that perspective shapes reality. The one who sees clearly cannot be deceived. You become even more dangerous when you stop over-explaining your boundaries. You say no without paragraphs. You take space without justification. You end conversations without guilt. You end relationships without drama. This quiet firmness makes the world adjust to your standards. Manipulators hate boundaries because they cannot cross them. They lose access to your emotions, your time, your mental energy. Another transformation happens when you start valuing consistency over intensity. You no longer get impressed by big words, big emotions, big gestures. You watch how people show up over time. Emotional danger means you don't fall for the fireworks. You wait for the patterns, and patterns never lie. People who cannot control you fear you because they cannot influence a mind that relies on observation rather than emotion. You also become emotionally dangerous the moment you stop trying to be understood by everyone. You accept that some people will misunderstand you no matter what you say, so you stop defending yourself. You let them think whatever they want. This removes the last chain. Manipulation uses guilt. When guilt can't control you, nothing can. And then there's the rarest form of emotional danger, being at peace even while letting others down. You realize that you cannot be everything for everyone. You cannot protect everyone's feelings. You cannot sacrifice yourself to keep others comfortable. You choose your peace over their expectations. Machiavelli believed that a ruler must prioritize stability over popularity. Emotionally dangerous people do the same. They choose what is right for their long-term strength. Your emotional danger becomes absolute when you no longer require closure from others. You create your own closure. You accept what happened. You learn from it. You release it. You move on. You don't wait for apologies, explanations, or validation. This internal closing of wounds steals from others the power to reopen them, and finally, you reach a stage where your silence is stronger than other people's yelling. Your restraint is louder than their accusations. Your presence is felt even when you say nothing. You become the person who doesn't need to display power. Your existence radiates it. This is the ultimate state Machiavelli described, the ruler who dominates without force. This is what it means to become emotionally dangerous. You walk through life unshaken, unreadable, unmanipulable. You don't need control over others because you have mastered control over yourself. And a person who governs their own emotions holds a power no one can challenge. But there is another transformation you must make if you want to become emotionally dangerous. You must stop giving people the power to define what is right for you. Most people walk around with a moral compass that isn't theirs. It's a compass handed to them by society, by family, by culture, by fear. And the moment you start living by an external compass, you become emotionally weak, because every decision you make is silently asking for permission. But Machiavelli understood something very few people ever realize. The person who defines the rules controls the game. And once you adopt someone else's rules, you become a piece on their board. Emotionally dangerous. People rewrite the rules. They live by their own internal code. Quiet, unshakable, and absolutely non-negotiable. When you operate by your own internal code, something shocking happens. People can no longer manipulate you with guilt. And guilt is one of the most powerful weapons weak people use. They try to make you small by saying you're selfish, ungrateful, disrespectful, cold. But Machiavelli would tell you that guilt is nothing more than a leash society uses to keep lions acting like sheep. Emotionally dangerous people don't respond to guilt. They respond to logic, to intention, to consequence. And when people can't use guilt on you anymore, they panic because that was their only way to control you. And then you become something they don't know how to handle, unpredictable. Not chaotic, unpredictable. There's a difference. Chaos is uncontrolled emotion. Unpredictability is deliberate silence. Emotional danger doesn't come from shouting, reacting, or snapping. It comes from being unreadable. People can't control what they can't predict. They can't manipulate what they can't decode. They can't dominate what they can't psychologically map. The moment people don't know what triggers you, you suddenly become the most powerful person in the room. And here's the part no one expects. Emotional danger is built through quiet repetition, not dramatic reinvention. It comes from walking away when you would normally argue. It comes from staying calm when someone expects you to explode. It comes from listening instead of defending. These small behaviors do something devastating to those who try to control you. They remove their sense of influence. They realize their words don't bite anymore. Their tactics don't land. Their manipulation doesn't sink in. You become immune, and immunity terrifies controllers. But immunity isn't enough. You must also develop emotional discipline. That means you don't reveal your feelings automatically. You choose when to display them. Machiavelli understood that timing is power. He wrote that a well-timed reaction is more effective than a constant one. Show nothing when they expect you to break. Show strength when they expect you to fold. Show silence when they expect you to speak. And when the moment is right, show clarity so sharp that no one can deny what you want and what you will do next. This emotional discipline is what makes you dangerous, not reckless, not violent, dangerous. Because the person who controls their own emotions controls every negotiation, every conflict, every relationship, every room they walk into, while others drown in emotional confusion. You stand still and clear, and stillness is intimidating. Stillness is power. Stillness makes people reconsider how they speak to you, how they approach you, how they treat you. And as you grow, something else happens. You stop chasing people. Emotionally weak people run after those who mistreat them because they fear losing them. But emotionally dangerous people do not chase. They attract. They walk in such silence, such confidence, such emotional independence that people feel pressure just to be near them. Why? Because everyone senses that you don't need them, and the person who needs nothing from anyone is the one everyone tries to impress. And now something shifts even deeper. Your standards rise. You stop tolerating half efforts, fake apologies, manipulative kindness, or emotional crumbs. You stop accepting people who expect loyalty but offer nothing. You stop giving energy to people who drain you. You stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. And when your standards rise, your world becomes smaller, but stronger, sharper, cleaner. The weak fall away, the manipulators fail, and only the people who can handle strength remain. But here is the final layer of becoming emotionally dangerous. You are no longer controlled by outcomes. This is Machiavelli's deepest secret. The moment you stop fearing loss, you become uncontrollable. No one can blackmail you with fear. No one can pressure you with threats. No one can intimidate you with consequences. Because you know that everything in life is replaceable, except your self-respect. And when your self-respect becomes your highest priority, you walk differently. You speak differently. You choose differently. People feel it. They feel the emotional danger radiating off you. Not because you're trying to scare them, but because you cannot be moved. You become the kind of person who commands respect without asking. The kind of person others hesitate to betray. The kind of person everyone thinks twice before crossing. The kind of person who can walk away from anyone, anything, at any moment, and remain whole. This is what Machiavelli meant when he spoke about power. Not loud power, not violent power, but psychological power, the silent kind, the steady kind, the kind that can't be manipulated, broken, or controlled, the kind that turns you into a force no one wants to fight, a presence no one wants to lose, a mind no one wants to underestimate. This is emotional danger, the kind that frees you from every chain, every fear, every person who ever tried to control you. And once you become this version of yourself, the world treats you differently, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it with every controlled breath, every silent reaction, every standard you refuse to lower. But the deepest shift happens when you finally understand this. Emotional danger is not about being feared. It's about being untouchable. There is a difference. Fear fades, but untouchable presence stays. It has the aura of someone who has endured enough storms to know that no new wave can drown them. When people sense this, they behave differently around you. They choose their words more carefully. They think before they provoke you, not because you ray aggressive, but because they feel the unpredictability of a person who has nothing to lose, nothing to hide, and nothing to fear. And as your emotional strength grows, something else becomes clear. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone should know your thoughts, your plans, your weaknesses, your triggers. Machiavelli always warned that revealing too much invites danger. Emotionally dangerous people understand this deeply. They master the art of selective disclosure. They reveal pieces of themselves slowly, strategically, and only to those who have proven loyalty. And even then, they keep the core of themselves protected, unexposed, unbroken, and unreachable. This is why manipulators fail with you. Their favorite tactic is confusion, keeping you uncertain, doubting yourself, stuck between wanting and fearing. But confusion only works on people who crave clarity from others. Emotionally dangerous people generate clarity from within. They don't wait for others to validate their decisions. They move with quiet certainty, even if they're unsure. They act with intention, and intention feels like confidence to the outside world. And because you no longer seek validation, you stop negotiating your value. You stop reducing yourself just to make others comfortable. You stop accepting situations where your worth is questioned. You stop letting people walk in and out of your life whenever they feel like it. You become the gatekeeper, the one who decides who stays, who leaves, and who gets close. This alone makes you uncontrollable, because the moment your value becomes non-negotiable, people realize they cannot afford to lose you, and that shifts the balance of power entirely. You also learn to separate emotion from strategy. Weak people mix the two. They act from impulse, from fear, from insecurity. They react out of desperation instead of direction. But emotionally dangerous people observe first, think second, act last. They let others reveal themselves through their own behavior. They let time expose intentions. They let silence do the work. Silence is their weapon, not as punishment, but as analysis. When you respond less, you see more. When you say less, others expose themselves more. And in this silence, your intuition sharpens. You learn to read micro-expressions, tone shifts, patterns of behavior. You notice when someone's kindness is real or performative. You notice when someone's loyalty has cracks. You notice when someone's intentions don't match their words. And the more you see, the less you tolerate lies, games, and emotional chaos. Because emotional danger doesn't just make you powerful, it makes you perceptive. But the most dangerous quality of all is this: you can walk away with dignity. Anyone can walk away in anger. Anyone can walk away slamming doors, breaking things, shouting, proving a point. That's easy. But walking away calmly, silently, with no explanation, no begging, no emotional collapse, that destroys the psychology of anyone who tried to control you. Because nothing terrifies a manipulator more than someone who can leave with their heart intact. Machiavelli knew this. The one who controls departure controls the relationship. When you can leave without hesitation, without emotional chaos, without fear, you become the dominant force. Not because you're cruel, but because you're free. And freedom is the ultimate form of danger. It creates a magnetic power around you. People start treating you with respect not because they love you, but because they know you don't depend on them. And when you reach this stage, something incredible happens. Your peace becomes your shield. You don't argue with small minds. You don't defend yourself against accusations that don't matter. You don't chase closure. You don't seek revenge. You don't waste energy on emotional parasites. Your peace becomes so heavy that it suffocates anyone who brings chaos. They either adjust to your pace or they disappear. This is the point where you become emotionally untouchable. You don't respond to attacks. You outgrow them. You don't fight for validation. You validate yourself. You don't react to pressure. You create pressure simply by being present. This is what true emotional danger feels like: calm, cold, controlled, and impossible to manipulate.